Welcome to Pulaski County Fiscal Court. As is customary, we like to open our meetings in the Pledge of Allegiance. We've got a special guest here today, retired Air Force Master Sergeant Mr. Emerson Caffey is with us today, and I've asked him if he would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. If y'all would please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Go ahead and call this meeting to order. First item on the agenda are the approval of our minutes from our previous meeting. You all have received a copy of those. Would there be any changes or additions you need to add to that, or we'll accept a motion to approve them?
Second.
We have a motion, Mr. Wilson, second, Mr. Wilson. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. All right. First thing, actually not on the agenda, but I would like to go ahead and do this. It's always an honor when we get to recognize a member of our community. And we've got a very special guest with us today, a young lady in the second row here, Mrs. Jewel Richardson. She is a longtime member of Somerset Pulaski County, got a couple children. She's got probably 15 grand and great grands. Is that sound about accurate, somewhere in that number? Her son was a good friend of mine, passed away a few years ago, but Miss Jewel Richardson is 100 years old. Is that today?
Right.
The 11th. She's going to be 100 years old on the 11th. So what a milestone that is, and what an honor it is to celebrate with you. And what we're going to do as a court, we would like to bestow on you our highest honor, which is that of Pulaski County Colonel. And we will give you this honor, and if you would be so kind as to come up here and let us have a picture with you. Bring your family, it'd be great. If you can do that, we'll all gather around back here. Just watch your step coming up there. There's a little rise. Gentlemen, if y'all would like to gather around, I better sign this one. I want to come up there with her, if that's all right.
You want to get in there and I'll take a picture with you?
It's okay. She's not kidding me. I'm just the bus driver.
Hang on the edge of that.
Count of three. 1, 2, 3. One more. Maybe. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thank you for letting us do that. I'm going to have Amber sign that, and we'll give that to you. Thank you for bringing her in. Would make my court sing, but I don't know if they might not like it.
Thank you.
I don't know. Look around, I don't know who would start us. But thank you all. And happy birthday, Mrs. Richardson. Thank you all. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda then will be, we've got a couple resolutions, or a resolution and an MOA regarding our flex funding. It's what we do every year. You've all turned in your flex roads for approval, and the state has approved them, but we need to have a resolution that will require a roll call vote, and then we'll have, after that, an MOA to vote on. So first item then will be the resolution adopting and approving the execution of a rural secondary program agreement between Fiscal Court and the Commonwealth of Kentucky Transportation Cabinet.
Motion. Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Ranshaw, second by Mr. Strunk. Any further discussion? Okay, we'll have a roll call vote, please.
Wilson,
Yes.
Wilden,
Yes.
Ranshaw,
Yes.
Strunk.
Yes.
That motion carries. Thank you. And then secondly, we'll have the agreement between the Commonwealth of Kentucky Transportation Cabinet and the Department for Rural and Municipal Aid in Pulaski County, which identifies the funding amount. And we'll need a motion and a second for that.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Wilson, second Mr. Wilson. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And then next, we have a health and professional services contract. This is Dr. Chad Henderson has been doing our drug screens, random testing, and basically, he's done that for the last 2 years, I think, and we're entering into this contract. There were a couple increases, nothing drastic, but you've got the contract in front of you if you'd like to continue using Dr. Henderson as our testing agent. You need a motion or a second if y'all want to.
Motion. Second.
There's a motion by Mr. Strunk, second by Mr. Wilson. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And then also we have a USDA grant application resolution. Basically, I'll let BJ just summarize what we're doing here. It's just permission for us to pursue this.
It's basically allowing the fiscal court permission to pursue the project for digital radios and the repeater systems in the county.
Motion. We have a motion by Mr. Wielden,
Second.
second by Mr. Ranshaw. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. I need to at least get one positive vote so I can move on there. Thank you. And I'm gonna ask for just a minute here. We need to break momentarily to go into an executive session. We've got somebody that needs to report to us that is on a time schedule to discuss, possible litigation, or I don't even know what the proper terminology, legal.
Pursuant to KRS 61.810, the Pulaski Fiscal Court will go into executive session under subsection C to discuss proposed or pending litigation.
Motion.
I have a motion by Mr. Strunk,
Second.
second by Mr. Ranshaw. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and for this meeting, I need to invite Chris Girdler and Brooke Ping from our SPEDA organization to come, please be a part of this with us. This shouldn't take long. We should be able to reconvene within 10 minutes. So, appreciate your patience. We'll come back to our regular meeting, let you know that no action was taken in executive session. Do we need a motion to reconvene?
Second.
Wheeldon, second by Mr. Ranshaw. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, well, sorry you all had to wait for that. We'll move on to our department reports. We've got our road department. Eugene?
What I've got today is my road work request, and I also need 400 ton of blacktop.
Okay, do we have any speed limits on this one?
No, no, me.
We have we entertain a motion for the road work request.
Motion. Second.
Two motions, 2 seconds. Third. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Then we need a motion to purchase 400 ton of blacktop.
Motion.
Second. Mr. Wilson, second. Mr. Ranshaw, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Judge, since we're in the conversation of road department, I want to ask permission of the court to advertise for our tree crew to purchase a grapple truck. So we can advertise for a grapple truck. And a grapple truck essentially is got a boom on the back of it when they're out, and it can replace several manpower. They're looking into purchasing it, and so we'd ask permission to run it in the newspaper so we can get some quotes.
Motion.
Second. We have a motion and a second to advertise for
I've got,
purchase of a
I've
grapple
got a
truck.
question on these bids, advertising them. Is there any way we can also advertise these bids on Facebook and other places? Because I know we're required to do it in the paper, but in the same sense, there's not a lot of people that are viewing these bids, and we need to get that information out there to where we can get more bids to help save the county money.
We have done that a time or two, but yeah, it probably should be a practice.
I think it should be a good practice that we start posting these on our website. and
Ross,
Facebook.
Ross
Ask
is,
Ross to do that, Steve.
On our
Ross has given me the
website and
signal that he's
Facebook.
on it.
So,
In addition to that, we're having,
We got a motion and a second.
Okay, sorry.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
I-
Any opposed? Okay.
we have a surplus auction coming up, and it will be at Gabi and Gabi Realtors, I think, with the county attorney selling some material, and as well, we need to surplus 4 vehicles. One of them is a bucket truck, an old bucket truck at the road department. Ask permission to surplus it. And then Danny, you've got 2 vehicles asked to surplus, and I think we've got an older piece of equipment also with the coroner's office we need to surplus.
So how many total we need to give
4.
permission? Do you have the numbers on those?
I've got the VIN numbers,
Do we
yes.
have that list somewhere?
It'll be a 98 bucket truck. I think I left the VIN number, the VINs in Jessica's office, I think. Oh, here they are. Thank you, Amber. It'll be a 02 Chevrolet Suburban. And it'll be a 2001 F-350 at Solid Waste. It'll be a 2001 F-350 at Solid Waste. And then it will be a 1998 International bucket truck at the road department.
Motion surplus. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, you'll get those VIN numbers to Alicia?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eugene. Next then will be our county clerk. I think, Linda, you want to speak about the upcoming election?
Morning. We'd like to speak on asking for a $30 fee in making as a motion for our e-poll book training, which is going to be a separate training than our normal general election training is. So that's going to be 112 people that we need to get trained on our e-poll books. And we have that scheduled on 19th and the 21st of this month.
So an extra $30 each?
Each one, yes, yes. So if I could ask for a motion for that approval,
Motion.
please.
Second. We have a motion from Mr. Strunk, second by Mr. Wielden to implement the poll book, how do you say that?
Electronic poll books, it's
Electronic
short
poll
for
book
e-poll
training.
books, yeah.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next then will be solid waste. I guess Misty has something to approach the court with.
I just have a couple of properties that need to be mowed in subdivisions. The first is on Surrey Way, it's Lot 18 in Keeney Acres, and the other is on Sunday Drive, Lot 1 in Camelot subdivision.
Motion to mow them.
Second. We have a motion, Mr. Strunk, second, Mr. Wielden. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Misty. All right, now next will be our jailer, Anthony McCullum, would like to speak to the court.
Good morning. As many of you all know, our commissary is what helps run our road programs. Also, as we all know, it's usually the families that have to use the burden of their financial resources, you know, to put money on the inmates' accounts. In order to help the families lower the cost of what they're having to put on the inmates' accounts and get a fair and reasonable price for some of the commissary items, and also to help maintain the profit to where we will be able to continue doing the road programs and the work programs. We've had to kind of balance that. I'd like to ask your all's permission to enter into a contract with Kelwell Commissary Services for a period of 1 year. Kelwell's prices are significantly lower than the commissary account that we have now, which is Tiger. Kelwell, we have 2 full-time employees and a part-time employees that run the commissary. Kelwell has agreed to pay the salaries of both those 2 full-time employees and the part-time employee. Tiger Commissary right now only pays a portion of half of salary of 1 full-time employee. I would like to ask the court's permission to enter into a 1-year contract with with Kelwell Commissary to ensure that, you know, that we've got the fair and reasonable contract with this commissary.
Motion.
There's a motion by Mr.
Second.
Renshaw and a second by Mr. Strunk. Any
When will
further?
that go in effect, Kelly?
We've got to give Tiger notice of about 30 days. So, and plus it will take at least 30 days to switch over everything from Kelwell, from Tiger to Kelwell. So we're looking at about 30 to 60 days to get it all switched over.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank y'all.
Thank you, jailer. Okay. Our treasurer's report, Joan has taken fall break and gone with her family out of town, so I'm going to present her items to you. You have first of all, you've got the bill list that was presented. Got a copy of that. Any questions, or you would entertain a motion to accept it?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Wilson, second Mr. Ranshaw. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next then would be a copy of the September bank reconciliation. You've got a copy of that. Do you have any questions, or we'd entertain a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Strunk, second Mr. Wilson. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. And then finally, his fund transfers, looks like we are Got a copy of that. We're transferring to general to 911 and also to general, and we're transferring those from occupational tax, general, and industrial development, which is closing the account out. Any questions about that, or we entertain a motion? Motion, Mr. Wielden.
Second.
Second, Mr. Strunk. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed?
Judge, we need to have a separate vote of closing the industrial development account.
Closing the bank account
Yeah,
itself.
fiscal court, yeah.
Okay.
Motion to close the account?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to close the industrial development account. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next, that brings us then to our citizens' comments, and we always welcome citizens to be active in our court. We just ask that you keep your comments reasonably short, 3 to 5 minutes, and you'd also refrain from any personal attacks on any members of the court or other elected officials in the audience. So first, we have Chris Girdler, our president and CEO of Somerset Pulaski Economic Development Authority, otherwise known as SPEDA. Thank you, Chris, for coming today.
Thank you, Judge, members of the court, friends. If you don't mind, I brought a small one of these for you all to be able to pass around, just so you would be able to have a good view of that. But I also brought a little bit larger one here for you to see. From the perspective of keeping my remarks brief, Judge, I will do my very best, and we'll also do, what was it, personal attacks? I'll try to keep those to a minimum as well today. But I do want to thank you all for being allowed to be put on the agenda. I appreciate the work that each and every one of you all do. You all are serving this community with a lot of dignity, a lot of respect, and working very hard. And on behalf of the entire county, I just want to say how much I appreciate that. But I'm presenting to you all today as a body. I'm asking really for your all's permission to be able to move forward by giving a thumbs up on this project, asking for your willingness to give us the thumbs up as well as being able to get this project into the Judicial Center's maintenance budget, which I anticipate will be very, very minimal. But you may be aware of, but if not, the project that I was just sharing with you all. This is a project that came about from the Chamber of Commerce Leadership Class of 2017. Very excited and honored to have quite a few of them joining us here today. This was really their brainchild. This was their idea. This was their project. We, of course, are looking to partner with them, partner with Mayor Keck, Somerset City Council, and partner with each of you all as the Pulaski County Fiscal Court in being able to complete this project. But they had an amazing idea that many of us loved from the onset. And they were struggling somewhat with their fundraising campaign, and we reached out to them looking to help, and they've been extremely willing to share their idea, their information, and they will be contributing a lot to this project through their time, their finances, etc. And we're simply stepping up to try to help them run this project through the tape, so to speak. Their idea is to complete a first-class stage canopy for the stage area that is already present over at the Judicial Center. Through our good management at SPEDA, our strict oversight, doing our very best to be good stewards of taxpayer money, we have been able to reap quite a bit of savings through that. And through that savings, we're looking to be able to invest that money back into the community in projects such as this. We believe that this project checks off a lot of boxes. It will dramatically improve the experience for both performers and spectators. It will enhance the cosmetic look of the Judicial Center Plaza. It will assist in the overall downtown revitalization efforts. And I think we can all agree that a thriving downtown can be the heartbeat of the county, and it will reverberate throughout the county with that positive energy that it can do. It also helps demonstrate that the arts can be an important part of economic development for any community, and at the end of the day, what SPEDA's main mission is increasing the overall quality of life. And that's what we believe that this project as a whole will be a very small part in doing that. Deco Architects is who did this artistic renderings. They've been very helpful. Of course, they're very good, as you can see by the renderings itself, and their project portfolio is expansive. Alex Godsey has been very helpful in this project. Many of you all may remember Alex from his time as a City of Somerset engineer, as well as an engineer for the Transportation Cabinet. At this time, I want to update the Fiscal Court that we have received 2 bids on this project, really from some overly qualified contractors for a project of this nature. Unfortunately, those bids came in a little bit higher than what our anticipated budget was for this project, so we have gone back to them through the procurement code, asking for some value engineering and ways in which we can get that cost back down into our estimate. We're working through that process right now. Those revised bids will be due on October the 18th, so a little over a week and a half from now. In addition, we have been having some very good discussions with a community business that is very interested in having the naming rights to this stage that will basically fund the stage itself. So it sounds very promising, very positive, moving in the right direction. Very excited about that opportunity that we'll be bringing to you guys as a designated time. But all that being said, I'm happy to take any questions. If there aren't any, SPEDA would respectfully request your all's permission to be able to move forward with this project, as well as to be able to get it into the judicial center budget for the minimal amount of maintenance we anticipate this being. But just appreciate the opportunity to lead this organization. Thank you all. It is truly an extreme passion of mine, and I'm loving every day in doing it.
And just to clarify, whenever that mock-up, it's got Somerset leads, it'll be Somerset, Pulaski, or SPEDA. It'll identify all 3 entities.
Correct. That is correct. These are just placeholders right now, is all that is. Just something we put up for the mock-up. But we will be representing all the entities that came to the table for this without going into an overly commercialized perspective. We do have some private donors that have come forward working with the leadership class that we'll be recognizing as well on some of the brick pillars with some engravings and that type of thing.
And just for clarifications, why I asked Chris to come is when we are part of the agreement is once it's built, it will be part of our maintenance program. And so that will have its own separate account for accounting. That way, when we need to change a light bulb or do something like that, when we get a PO, they'll say they'll know where that money is going to.
Correct.
So how much ongoing costs on maintenance do you estimate will be required?
Truly very minimal. It's so difficult to put a price tag on it. I would anticipate light bulbs, minimal pressure washing from time to time. Possibly if we continue and have the cedar wood, which is representative here, we're not sure we're going to do that. That may be one of the things in the value engineering cost that we remove to bring the price down, maybe a restaining of it every 2 to 3 years. But I anticipate the cost being extremely minimal. I would say under $1,000 on an annual basis.
We need a motion then to accept this or give permission to move forward.
Second.
Got a motion and second. I think Mr. Wielden made the first motion.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you, gentlemen.
Chris.
I hope that was brief enough. Thank you.
Next then, I've got John Crosby is with us he's representing here on behalf of Senator Rand Paul. Would like to speak a little today. I know Brian Mills had originally asked to speak. Brian had surgery this week, so we're praying for his recovery, but John is here in his stead. So if you'd like to talk to the court.
Great. Thank you, Judge, and thank you, court, for having me today. I am from Bowling Green, Kentucky, and again, as Judge said, I'm representing Brian. Brian has been quarantined, trying to keep the risk of infection down from some recent surgery, and we're out making a final push for inviting folks to come to Senator Paul's event in Somerset today. If you know Lake Hills Oasis on Jordan's Way, it's also known as ARC, I think, Addiction Recovery Care. It's the log cabin there out off 914 is what everybody tells me whenever I mention it. So he's going to be there at 2 o'clock today for a roundtable specifically discussing addiction crisis in the state. And he will be hearing from some of the leadership with addiction recovery care, some of the residents who are in recovery right now, and then he'll be addressing possible federal options for helping in the aid of addiction recovery. We all know how hard that has hit our communities, especially opioid and meth. Meth is actually probably statewide every bit as big, if not bigger, than opioid crisis, due simply to, regretfully, the Mexican cartels have made it easier to make, cheaper to make, and plentiful supply. So we see it in every community that we go to, a major impact of the drug crisis. And then the last thing I want to mention, it's very important to the senator that our kids who are incoming sophomores, they would be sophomores right now in high school, that they know if they have an interest in military academies, the senator would be happy to try to nominate them to a military academy. But it's very important to get on that track right now, to get with their academic counselor and to make sure that they have the proper credits, the proper classes to be accepted into the military academy. The beautiful thing about the military academy is all of them are in the top 15 ranked public institutions in the country. And you're talking about a $300,000 education paid for by the military. Several branches are interchangeable between those academies, meaning you could go to the Merchant Marine Academy, the Coast Guard Academy, the Navy Academy, and choose your branch when you graduate. So it's very important to us to see that our military leaders, some of them come out of our fine state of Kentucky, and so that's an initiative Senator Paul really wanted to make sure we got around there. If you have any children, nieces, nephews, friends, please make sure you let them know to go talk to their counselor, and we're happy to help with the nomination process of any of those students. So thank you, Judge, for your time.
Thank you, appreciate you. Okay, next then, we have retired Air Force Master Sergeant, Mr. Emerson McCaffey, would like to approach the court.
Thank you, Judge.
Just watch your step there.
See this? This is my sample sign. And we also have reserved veteran parking signs. Any veterans in here today?
Several.
Got one over there. Back here too. Thank you all for your service. I have passed through Somerset. Well, I passed through it for 9 years when I got transferred from the Lexington Army Depot to Redstone Arsenal. I come home every other weekend to Berea. A lot of traveling for 9 years, and I passed through Somerset twice, coming and going. But this is the first opportunity I've had to come downtown and see what your downtown looks like. I've never seen it, and it's beautiful. And you've got some nice monuments out front here supporting all the veterans in the different wars. And I think I could add something to that to put on the front of your building out here somewhere. This is my sample. It was a wrong name on the sign, so I ended up with a free sample to show everybody. But we provide these signs to cities, counties, businesses, universities, anybody, including a person, a family, a man that believes in veterans, wants to put it up at his house, farm, wherever he lives, to show support. I think I was the first one to start this because I got one for my house. I actually live in the country and used to be a farm, but I've gotten past that stage and I don't farm anymore. I think they're beautiful signs. They got the Kentucky logo with the addition of the Kentucky Veterans Hall of Fame around the outside of it. Everybody working for the Kentucky Veterans Hall of Fame are volunteers. Nobody gets any money. Everything we make off our sales, anything, goes directly to the Kentucky Veterans Hall of Fame. And what it does is it has a banquet and an induction ceremony once a year. This started in 2014, so this year they had their 6th class, and they were anywhere from 23 to 30 last year. This year they dropped it back to 25, This is what you get when you get inducted. I was very proud to be inducted this past September, last month. I've worked with it for almost a year now, mainly doing nothing but going door to door. I've visited 9 counties in south central Kentucky. This is my 10th county. I expect to get a big block visited as soon as I can get to it. But the purpose of this is to find those veterans that are going a step beyond what's required. They've gotten out of the military, 4 years, whatever, or retired. Now they're in your communities. We don't know where all these people are. You may know some of them. You know people that may know some of them. We want to find these extra special people and honor them with this Hall of Fame. They can be volunteers in the community. They could be serving on a court, deacons or Sunday school teachers, anything in your community that helps the community. And the more they do, the better chance they have of getting accepted into this thing. But they have to be submitted. So I'm visiting to find everybody out in the counties that can help us locate these people and get them submitted. I'm available to help anybody write it up. It's very simple to write up. They want a little bit about their military career, but their civilian work is what gets them in the Hall of Fame, not their military. They just have to be in the military to be eligible to go into this. I retired from the Air Force in 1984 after 25 years, and it seems like almost immediately when I got out, in my spare time, I was doing things for veterans, doing anything I could to help. So I've spent about 35 years helping veterans, and then I worked a civil service job, starting over at Avon near Lexington, 6 years over there, and then they transferred us to Huntsville for 9 more years. So I spent 41 years with the government, and I've spent 35 of it just working any way I can to support all the veterans. So here today, I'm here to try to convince you folks to join us. It only takes a couple things. A proclamation is required stating that you support all veterans, and it says you will submit a person each year for this award, but it's not written required that you have to. If you don't find anybody in a year, no problem.
Why don't we do this, where I don't think that would require a court action, but if you will give us the information, I think we can help you by doing it through our Facebook and our webpage to promote this and to get community support.
That is exactly what we want you to do. Join us and then put it on your Facebook page, whatever, so you can get the word out to the people knowing you're looking for these individuals and they should contact somebody, let them know who they are, and then you'll have to find out what they've done. The end result is you sign the proclamation, you buy one of these signs for $110. That's it, just one time. You get the one sign, or you can do like, I was surprised over here in your neighbors in Laurel County. They bought 15 signs.
Wow.
And I don't know where, they were going to put them on each road coming into town, but I had told them they don't have that many roads, but they said, we got a place for everyone. But I'm not looking for that. I also sold 5 up the road here to Crab Orchard. They got enough roads there, I think they can put 5 signs. But I'm not looking for that. I'm just looking for somebody to buy a sign, join us, sign the proclamation. I'll give you a bill of sale, and you give me the $110, and that's all it takes. Then you just have to go to work finding these veterans.
Okay, well, if you would be so kind as to talk to Amber, my secretary, and provide her with the information you have, and then we can get a proclamation together and present it to the court, and we can help you in moving forward. But I appreciate your efforts, and I think I speak for the court that they all support the veterans, and we're very, very proud of your service, and we're very thankful for it. So I appreciate you taking time today.
All righty.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you. And these, if you need these veteran signs, they're $40 a piece. All signs have the holes drilled already, top.
I don't know if you've noticed, but we kind of are ahead of you there. We've got veterans parking. We've got around the courthouse and around the city hall and various restaurants. So there's a lot of things that we're we're working on with you already.
That's great. All right.
All right, sir?
Check back with you in a week or so.
That'd be great.
How you doing?
I appreciate you joining us today.
All right, thank you.
If there's no further business, we'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
We got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you all very much. Have a good day.